All right, here we go.
All
right, yeah. Looking like it's going up. Okay. Waiting to see if that shows up. Okay. Yep, there it is. I see it. Also, link this out too. Yep, video looks great.
Nice.
No password. No password. No password. I don't think I see. Private, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. No, it's good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just get the link out there. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I better retweet as well, actually. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. It stinks that you can't put the link out like early on.
I mean, you can what's it? You can like schedule in a live stream, but I guess you can't like.
Well, I think the thing is you can link to, like, if you're doing it on Twitch, you can just link to your Twitch channel or something like that.
Oh yeah, I get you now. Yeah.
But with the YouTube one, I guess you could just link to your channel. It wouldn't be a big deal, but
oh yeah.
I don't know. Here, I'm going to link this out to right now.
Because I know Pokemon had one the other day where, like, 12 hours in advance, they had a video called question mark. And people were like, oh, is this going to be the ghost dog? And it was the ghost dog, but it was just like, what's this going to be? There's a thumbnail of a Gengar. Ooh, Pokemon. I don't know. I am excited for Scarlet and Violet this November, but yeah.
Oh, cool. Fair enough.
Everybody's going crazy over that ghost dog. Brilliant marketing to let him out on Halloween.
Yep.
Or close to Halloween.
I just hope it gets more like a more shaggier version at each evolution.
Oh yeah.
Like I would love.
Kind of like how Growlithe and Arcanine kind of function. That would be really cool.
Just a big hairball, like a chandelier hairball.
I'm going to now retweet this to my page. Okay. Just retweet it to my page. All right. Is anybody in yet? One watching. I'll take it. I think that's just me. I think that's just me on my channel. It's all right. I'm going to link it to a couple more people, and then we will start proper.
Cool.
Okay.
This is a draw behind feature. Probably. That's it. The curse of having gaps in my lines.
Okay.
I want to try something real quick.
Go for it.
Okay, I just found that my computer has a mute feature because Discord does not mute my computer audio on the mic. So just in case I have to step away for a second, I got it. And it should work.
Always good to have an insurance policy. Life comes at you fast.
All right. Give it like 2 more minutes to see if anyone stops in.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but otherwise, if nobody does, we'll just put it up as a VOD.
Yeah, no worries.
People always watch that.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling 1 or 2 people will stop in.
Can we remember how many people came in last stream?
I think it was like 8. We had like 8 people like all together.
Yeah, it was a handful of them.
It was a decent amount.
I mean, I think for streaming, that's like pretty decent start, you know.
Yeah.
Especially for like your first stream, you know.
For sure.
All right.
Maud just retweeted us. Nice. And Jack just retweeted us too.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna draw Cody as the human fly.
From the fly.
From the fly. I got the prompts written down that I'm like might want to try out. So
I was thinking like more like the human fly from it was a Simpsons episode.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about? Like where? Well, like there's just like a guy in a fly suit. He's like, "Hello, human fly over here."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was the only. Like, I feel like I always think that he's in another episode, but then I'm getting mixed up with like, was it Doctor Colossus? With, like,
Dr. Frank?
No, not Doctor Frank. There was an episode where it's another doctor that like something about his, like he tries to escape jail with his like shoes, with, like his like and he gets like stuck in the building. I forget the name. I think it's. Let me check.
Is that the character that's always trying to kill Bart?
Sideshow Bob?
Sideshow Bob.
No, okay, someone else. Gotcha.
Although fun fact, Cape Fear is Camp Fear, Cape Fear. Cape Fear is. Yes, that's definitely my favorite Simpsons episode.
Yeah. Ice Cream Bill. Ooh, Scream. No, it goes Scream Bill. Ooh, Ice Cream Bill. Hello, Mr. Thompson. He's talking to you. It's a good spooky episode, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, it's like one of the ones that's like, any episode with Sideshow Bob kind of has like a horror element to it. But I mean, the ones that everybody knows about are the Treehouse of Horror ones.
Gosh, I think the joke that cracks me up the most is the one he's still like trying to write. He's trying Sideshow Bob's like you're trying to write with his own blood, and then he just like collapses. Use a pen, Sideshow Bob.
Oh my god, so good. I mean, it's German for the Bart. Hey, Green Retro Man, how you doing? All right, you know what? Let's start this up. We've been up for about like 5 minutes, so we will we'll formally start. Hi, everybody watching, which is one person right now, but that's okay. We are the crew of Failing Upward, and we're going to do a Halloween stream today. We're going to talk a little bit about our new episode coming up. We're going to take questions if they come in. If not, we'll just keep talking about the new episode, and we'll just generally talk about Halloween things, because the next episode is a little spooky. So we figured it would be an appropriate time to kind of drop that kind of stream. I'm Gary Chmarkey. I'm the writer and creator and voice of Cody. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure thing.
Nah.
I'm kidding. I am Nine, the assistant animator on the show.
I'm Jack. I'm the lead animator director of the show.
Hey there, I'm Miranda. I'm the background.
Hey. We've got a pretty full house today. Pretty decent amount of people in. And yeah, we're just going to hang out and talk about this new episode, which is entitled OK Nightmare. And it's a whole episode about nightmares and what spooks you. And kind of, just things that keep you up at night. And just from a writing perspective, four people. Green Retro Man, 4 people. It's just kind of came out from a writing perspective. It just kind of came out of just like not being able to sleep and just seeing whoever was up to chat with. There's a bunch of gags. There's 2 main gags basically. Regarding kind of like irrational fears. I've had long discussions about those with friends. One of them is way more childish than the other one, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, there's you maybe want to throw it to you guys, kind of like without spoiling too much, like what were some of your favorite things to animate on this upcoming one?
Honestly, for me, the dialogue sequences, because I get to, let's say, kind of do my own thing, and then let's say the animators do their own thing with the dialogue. It's pretty interesting.
Cool.
We got a lot to. I think because obviously we've been talking in the meeting anyway, and obviously I don't want to spoil too much. But let's say what the approach with this episode anyway. We're going to try and hopefully push towards having a bit more. We're trying out different ways, especially with this episode anyway, in terms of like how we're going to sort of approach the scenes and such, And I think what's exciting about that is the fact that I think it'll allow us to be a bit more free, and in the terms, especially how our recent development of how the episodes have gone, have been a bit maybe slow, of course, but then of course there's been reasons for that. But I think coming up with this episode, hopefully it's going to make things a bit more streamlined. It's going to make things a bit more interesting for us, and in the production wise, and I guess in terms of for our audience, it'll just be a really more of a really fun way to explore this show, going forward. So personally, I'm really looking forward to how we're going to approach this episode in particular anyway, because I think it's going to be a whole game changer upon how we're going to go forward with production.
Yeah. Before I throw it over to Miranda about backgrounds, I just actually wanted to mention one of the coolest comments. Hey DTS, how you doing? One of the coolest comments I kind of saw was that people really appreciated that the style kind of kept changing as the shorts went on. And Nine had kind of made a comment a couple years ago just about getting really experimental. And I think at the time I was just I don't know, maybe we just stick to this thing. But I was very happy to see people did kind of appreciate that. And Nine was totally right. And it's kind of he was one of the people who was just yeah, let's just go crazy. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see kind of how these styles mesh and how we can kind of keep the characters in mind when we're animating it, and have the animation kind of reflect how they're feeling and stuff like that. It's just kind of been an interesting evolution of where we started to where we are now. I like that JC bat, by the way. So Miranda is our background artist, and this is the first time she's going to be on a stream with us. So I'm very excited to hear. Miranda, did you have a favorite background for this episode?
Let's see. Well, I think the one we spent the longest on so far is the one from, I think it's the opening shot where we were trying to figure out how to clutterify Cody's desk. I recall receiving an instruction whenever a piece of technology appears to try to make it as clunky and retro looking as possible.
Yeah.
So he's got I don't remember the exact computer model it's based off of, but it looks a little bit like the Apple IIs I recall seeing in I think maybe kindergarten.
Oh wow.
Goodness, what that would have been like.
He's playing Oregon Trail all the time.
Just dying of dysentery instead of submitting job applications,
I can't forge the river. He has a harder time forging the river than getting a job. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I think, because I know you've also done some of the backgrounds for the fantasy sequences, and I was actually looking at them the other day. Because I remember that was one of the things we really wanted to push to get done, because all that animation is done already, more or less. Jaime R, who, by the way, Jaime R has a I just want to do a quick plug for Jaime, because he has a short in the new Justin Roiland special.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I get the name right, because I don't want to. It's the Poloni Show Halloween special on Hulu. If you guys want to check it out. It's fantastic. Jaime short is really, really cool. Definitely go check that out. But I wanted to kind of go back to what we were talking about in terms of just the backgrounds kind of being done for the fantasy sequences being done early on, and I was going through them, and I really just like the atmosphere you had created for the JC one, and specifically because it's so ominous and kind of just I wouldn't say unsettling. It's just very spooky, and it's cool. I really like that one.
Spooks.
Yeah, and just back to your comment on just everything looking really retro. I wanted to give this show from that standpoint. I just really wanted to give it a timeless feel, so you can never quite pinpoint when it's supposed to take place. There's a lot of indicators that that will completely throw you off. So I just kind of told Miranda to use archaic technology, basically, just like very old stuff that's just not used anymore.
Imagine a utopian future where smartphones and old machines can coexist without forced obsolescence. What a concept!
Yeah, I don't know. There's something so interesting about. There's a couple of great ones that completely nail that, like the period they're going for, but I feel like I often feel like it gets too obsessed with trying to recreate a period, and you kind of lose track of like the narrative through line. You get too focused on the surroundings. So for this, I was just like, no, I mean, like we kind of want to set the kind of we want to set the tone as like it really doesn't matter. This is just a relatable story, regardless of time period. And don't focus too hard on the things in the background, but there's little cute Easter eggs, I guess, if you do. It's just you're not going to guess what time period this is. Even like there was, I think I remember in the boards that Wes did, there were like I don't know if it was Miranda or if it was, I think it was, I don't know, it was one of you two. But in the last episode, there's a calendar that says like October or something like that.
Yeah.
Was that you or Wes?
I think that might have been in the boards.
Oh, that meant Wes then. Nice.
Yeah, that's a Wes joke.
I can
then.
actually go check that. I think I have the file structure for that.
Yeah, but it was just like stuff like that where it's just this weird, it's just this weird snippet of time that you can't quite put your finger on. That's what I really liked about kind of creating this world. Yeah, I think when Jaime is not here, so I can't quite talk to him about the fantasy sequences that we're doing for this one, but this might be my favorite Cody one. Just because it's so, like, I remember me and Jaime had been talking about it, and like we're like, how are we gonna make this like super spooky? And once again, without spoiling too much, like we had a bunch of ideas at one point. Like his bed was gonna be like a wormhole or something like that, like, which didn't make it in, so I don't mind throwing that out there. But like that was one of them. Kind of like he gets like Johnny Depp, like from Nightmare on Elm Street or something. But we kind of we did something totally different. But it was just so fun coming up with Cody's in particular. JC's leans into something that's a little more grounded in reality, and it's actually probably ends up being my favorite moment of character development for her. And it was a lot of fun to write that monologue for Maddie to do. Like she like killed it, and I was really happy with it. So yeah.
Sorry, but side note, not related. But Gary, how about you give me a prompt for kind of a movie monster for JC to be?
A movie monster? Ooh, yeah. Good question. I'm gonna give you a hard prompt then.
Oh boy, all right.
Yeah, make her the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay.
Yeah, it's like figure that one out. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of also, like, if anybody has any questions regarding, the development of the show and kind of what to expect, or any questions about the characters, feel free to throw them in the chat. And we'll answer. I know we kind of keep fluctuating watchers, but that's okay. I see people stopping in. That's all I care about. I'm very happy people are interested to at least stop by.
Yeah.
But yeah, feel free to throw out questions, anyone, as we keep talking. Ooh, Miranda, are you drawing that one with the ghost coming out of the computer?
Yes. The ghost in the
That's
machine.
cool.
Sick.
That's sick. Oh my god.
So yeah, the computer in the background looks something like this, if I recall.
Yeah. Yeah. Cody won't give up on that computer. That's an even funnier sentiment, that like Cody is just like so like nostalgically attached to that type of computer, even though there might be better computers out there. I think JC actually has like a Mac, which is funny. Like I think, which once again just completely throws you off the like the timeline of when this is supposed to be, which is funny.
Would you like have those kind of like bubble kind of like
Yeah,
like it was like the bubble version of those Macs? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
those were. I remember when I was in high school, and I was taking high tech art, and like, which is such a funny class name to me. It's
They
like
called it
literally,
high-tech
it's just a
art?
computer. It's not high tech.
It's amazing.
They just. What's up, Miranda?
It's amazing they called it high tech art.
Yeah, I just remember that it was literally using Photoshop. That's all we were doing. And I remember those were like the standards, like the Bubble Max, and I was like, "This is the future. This is completely the future."
I mean, they still look pretty slick, to be fair.
They do, which is so crazy. Like years, and I mean, and they're kind of coming back into chic now. Like people are really into like early 2000s culture now.
Yeah, they grew up with it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember specifically there was a what was I going to say? There was an article I was reading the other day about like how the look indie sleaze is coming back. I was
What
like,
does that mean?
I was not aware this was a thing.
I mean, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's the kind of like age during. It's very noughties. It's like the kind of age where the fashion was very sort of like almost like a mad dash of like colors, and sort of like the clothing was loud, and obviously it was a lot of like it was like a kind of a post rock was coming back kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think bands like the Strokes,
Garage rock too.
garage rock, yeah, that kind of sound, and
Yeah.
you know, and also
Strokes.
electronic music was very like in your face kind of thing, and just very abrasive and stuff. But also, yeah, it was just, you know, there's that kind of like vibe and stuff. I mean, I know because obviously I grew up during that, and you know, it was during that vibe, and it was very much especially from my sister's side anyway, and of course it was very much what was in during the time, and of course looking back, it's just crazy. Like, oh man, that would not fly today and stuff like that. But
Here we are.
And yeah, here we are.
Jack, because you were just talking about electronic music being in your face. You're a big fan of that era too, right?
Absolutely.
Like that late 90s,
Yeah,
early
yeah.
2000s scene.
Absolutely, yeah. Big fan of sort of dance music in general. You know, I'm pretty.
Didn't you go to see Left Field at one point?
No. But
What was the
I mean,
band I was thinking of?
I mean, I saw the Chemical Brothers.
Chemical Brothers. Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah. I saw the Chemical Brothers like live, and that was pretty like, you know, I mean, it had everything. It had the lasers and like the big mechanical robots that came out. Not Daft Punk related, but like just like, but yeah, they proper put on like the shows that are just like very, yeah. I mean, those shows are really special anyway because I think they put a lot of spectacle into that kind of music that just kind of works in itself. I mean, Chemical Brothers have always been, I guess, forward front when it comes to the kind of spectacle aspects, especially when they get like filmmakers involved and whatnot to like, do their visuals. And yeah, those shows are really like just a spectacular, you know, showcase.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I mean, that was. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, so if you see them live, like yeah, just see them. You know, they're great.
I was gonna mention, but this show obviously because you know, like you, I had grown up in the early 2000s. That's kind of when I started getting into a lot of the stuff that would end up influencing Failing Upward, and that whole era is definitely probably. I would say a lot of people say it's kind of like late 90s feeling, and that's accurate, but like very much like the early 2000s as well. So like I definitely relate to that era a lot. So yeah,
we don't like subtly I mean I feel like we subtly reference it, but we don't like say it's not in your face to make it clear that this is set in that time period, is it? You know, in the show we don't like.
No, there's nothing. I think the closest thing I can think of is like the Mac. Like, I mean, once again, like it's supposed to throw you off. You know what I mean? Like everything's supposed to throw you off. I would say influence-wise, like early 2000s was like the era. You know, it's funny. I was watching. I rewatched Over the Garden Wall recently, and you really can't tell what era that's supposed to be in either. Even though there are little indicators, like I think like Wirt has like a cassette tape that he makes. So like there's stuff in there, but I really appreciated that, like, they totally throw you off at first because they show them in like their little kind of like 1700s, 1800s costumes or whatever, and I'm like, oh, so they're like from like this weird kind of like Victorian era or something.
Yeah.
And it turns out no, they're not. They're from the 20th century, but you still don't know what era White is. It has to be past the 70s, I guess, because of the cassette tapes. But like, it could be the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It could even technically be modern day. We just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also like, there's something about the last shot of the show where it kind of pans out and it's like snowing out or whatever, and it just looks like it's the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird and random. Hey, Glenn, how you doing, man? How's it going? Haven't talked to you in a while. Yeah, we're hanging out right now. We're kind of talking about era influence on Failing Upward. Then we started talking about Over the Garden Wall. But yeah, Glenn, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them our way. We love content. We love to talk about things. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. I always like ambiguous stuff like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's smart because it just doesn't matter. Like, if the story is strong enough that the time and anything that needs to be as long as nothing needs to be referenced time wise, and it doesn't really, you don't have to make that like a vocal point upon where it's set to be part of the story. I think it's smart in that terms of that. Although it's a shocker though that comes later when it comes like, oh, this is actually they were in sort of like a modern-esque. They just somehow transported into this world that felt like, like a fantasy, sort of like, realm. Yeah, so it's smart. It's
spoilers for Over the Garden Wall, but it's been out for what, like, how many years now?
Oh my
it's
gosh,
still really good.
Yeah,
it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's still really good. I highly recommend it, but I don't know if I feel bad about spoiling it at this point. Also, shout out to Pat McHale. It's really cool. Kind of worked with him once, which was really, really, really cool.
Oh, you're just gonna drop that? You're just gonna drop that occasion?
Yeah, I am, and I don't feel any shame at all.
What did he do? What was it?
I guess that's also horror related. Pat and I worked on a.
Best buds, Pat and I.
So I was doing a film festival for Trauma. I had asked Pat to be a guest and talk about Over the Garden Wall, and he was like, "Oh, I'm kind of busy."
Yes.
What's up?
I remember you mentioning this actually. Yes.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, I'm kind of busy, but I'd love to do an introduction for you guys." And he did such a funny introduction. I remember like he just had a lot of good advice about like just telling stories and everything, and he was talking about just kind of like putting your thoughts down and getting it out there is like the best way to learn. But then like at the very end of it, he just like busts into song, starts singing Happy Trails, which I thought was so funny to me. I was like, what is he doing? And then he's like, he just commented back. He's like, you don't need to include that last part. So of course I did.
Of course, no. Nice.
I just think it's so funny. I still have that. I don't have the edited version of that video anymore. I can't seem to find it. I think it died on an old computer, unfortunately. But I have the unedited version, which is stored on my YouTube, my personal YouTube channel. So every now and then I'll just go back and watch and be like, "That's so funny! Like, why did you do that? It's so cool." But yeah, that was fun. So yeah, shout out to Pat McHale. Really cool guy. Yeah, you know what? Let's just start talking about random things. Let's talk about if Cody and JC had to go trick or treating, what kind of costumes would they wear in your guys' opinion?
Good question.
I mean, I imagine Cody would be something Godzilla related, right?
Oh
yeah. Do like a cardboard box version of like Destroyer, or like a makeshift version of Ghidorah.
Dude, if we're going that route, I think you just do Jet Jaguar. That'd be
Oh, yeah.
absolutely do Jet Jaguar.
Jet Jaguar.
Jet Jaguar. Please don't touch my bags, Mr. So that's a deep cut MST3 career reference.
Oh. Sorry, side note.
Boy.
Does the monster from the what am I drawing again? Monster of the Black Lagoon. Does that have a tail or not? I forget.
I don't think he has a tail. No, he doesn't have a tail.
Okay.
Gilman doesn't have a tail.
He's
Okay,
tailless.
cool.
That's his. By the way, I didn't realize this. I must have read it when I was a kid, and then I forgot about it. Because I used to read all the monster books. They were called Crestwood monster books. They're these big orange books that had like all the information about old horror movies in them. I've definitely read the. If there maybe there was, I don't know if there was or wasn't, but at one point I definitely knew he was named Gilman. But then, like 10 years ago, I guess I had forgotten, and I'm like, oh, he's just the creature from the Black Lagoon. But then, like somebody was like, no, his name is Gilman. I was like, no way. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, his name is Gilman. So I thought that was really funny that I forgot that vital part of information.
Sounds like the name you'd say like if like the boss is angry. Gilman.
Gilman.
Yeah.
It sounds like the guy from what's it called? House of the Dead 2.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? I forgot his name.
No,
You want to say Freeman, but that's Half-Life. But yeah, something like that. Yeah, Gilman. I just call him now. When I call him Gilman, like it does sound like a last name, Gilman.
Yeah, Gilman.
Gilman. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I was like, that's his name. I just always called him the creature. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they call him that in the movie. I just think they just call him the creature. But I think that's like the shorthand is Gilman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah.
okay. Cody. So Cody would definitely wear something. So he would wear Jaguar and stuff like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Sure. What's yeah.
JC though, I don't know. I feel like I look at JC and I don't know if she's like would be a Halloween, or rather, she wouldn't like. Would she get into the spirit? Would she like dress up and stuff?
I did have an idea at one point. There was an alternate Halloween episode I wrote, where she's working at the store and she's in costume, and she was dressed as Brian Wilson during his Depression era. So just had a robe on and then big thick glasses.
Oh man,
she had that kind of bowl cut wig.
Okay, I was gonna say that might be too obscure even for me. Then again,
deep cut Beach Boys joke, which ties into
okay. Yeah. Well, it's more that look specifically. I'm trying to picture it.
Oh no, it's just based on one picture. It's literally based on one picture. I think it's Brian Wilson went out into public once during that era because that was the era he was just in his house all the time, and he was in some kind of mini mart or something like that, and he was just dressed in a robe and pajama pants and just thick glasses, and he had just his bowl cut hair, and I'm like, that's a look. That's a look.
You'll have to send me a pic of that later. Yeah, I would love to see what that looks like.
Yeah. Throw the question, Miranda. Miranda, what do you think? What do you think their costumes would be like?
So I was thinking about the Godzilla thing before. Those little T-Rex costumes that are inflatable?
Yes.
It's one of those, but he just mods it with household supplies to look like whatever Godzilla he's feeling in the moment. Maybe he makes it into Mechagodzilla with the cardboard from the earlier suggestion.
Oh yeah.
But I might be biased because I'm currently making some stuff out of cardboard for a less ambitious costume. So.
You did this thing that I really think is funny, where Norm Macdonald had this bit about how he doesn't call vampires vampires, he calls them Draculas. So when you said whatever Godzilla, I just think of instead of kaiju, we just use the word Godzilla for whatever monster we're talking about.
The Godzilla class of kaiju, clearly. No, you're right. I know Godzilla's a specific one, but also there's so many takes on him at this point.
I just like the idea of calling them all Godzillas.
I feel like
the
I would piss
Godzilla
off
out
a movie
there.
fan if I did that. Just like I look at, I point at Rodon. I'm like, yeah, Godzilla. That's Godzilla right there.
No, I just like the idea of in universe somebody being like, "Oh man, another Godzilla's out there." If they're just so used to it, they're tired of giving them names. They're just like, is it Godzilla 2? I don't know.
Okay,
Destroy all
one-
Godzillas.
That one Godzilla movie from a few years back, where they call like the other kaiju, they called them like Mutos. I'm like, what if they just called them all Godzillas?
I mean, they got pretty unique at a certain point. Because like go to the 80s ones, they have like Biollante and stuff like that, where it's just this giant plant monster, and it's like, what is that even a god? Is that even like a kaiju? It's just, I mean, it is, but it's just like it's so abstract, like and weird.
Biollante is the one that's like toxic sludge mixed with like some kind of crocodile and rose bush, I think.
No. Yeah. Biollante is like the plant one. The toxic sludge one is Hedera, I think. It's called.
I might be getting those confused.
I might be wrong too. That's
Godzilla, right? That's the name of it. Godzilla.
It's Godzilla.
Yeah, it's Godzilla.
It's just Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's like what's that one meme video format where like you take like a roster of characters from a game and like present it to like an older relative with no context. Yeah, Mario, green Mario, yellow Mario.
My favorite one of those is like he shows her he shows his dad like what is it, Lucas from Mother 3. He's like, I don't know, fucking Timmy. And he just likes fucking Timmy.
Lucas doesn't deserve this. He's been through too much trauma.
Oh man. I was gonna say, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I was just thinking of the Pro ZD sketch where he like, you know, he's like pretending of like he's showing his grandma like, okay, grandma, like the amiibo. Okay, grandma, what's this? That's Mario. Okay, what's this one? That's Luigi. All right, grandma, what's this? And it's like Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. You know, obviously like that's Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles.
How do you know that?
You
How did she know that?
No, she's and then show the Fire Emblem one, and it's just like, you know, that's.
Oh, Wes is here. Hey, Wes, how you doing? Oh,
I need views, Grandma. How am I going to make?
I'm gonna promote to my SoundCloud.
I would like to contribute to the whole costume thing. I think JC would have a very elaborate cosplay, and for the costume contest or something like that, she wins. But then Cody would probably go to your nearby Party City and get character with red shirt, blue overalls, and a hat.
Dude, here's the thing about that. I've had that happen to me, like with the costume contest or whatever, where it's just like, where like, so like, me and my mom would work on these crazy costumes. I remember specifically, like, I worked on, we worked on an Inspector Gadget costume.
Oh,
it was pretty dope. It was cool. Like, I had the trench coat, I had slinky arms, and then I had what else did I have? I had the glasses that like with the eyeballs that came out and everything. But most importantly, I had the helicopter hat. We took I guess a fedora or whatever, or like some kind of, I don't know what kind of hat it was, like a bowler hat or something. It was a fedora. It had to be a fedora. And we took a piece of wood and we put that in the hat, and then we screwed in a screw, and then on top of that screw we put a you know those things in dishwashers that like shoot the water everywhere?
yeah.
Yeah, so that was the helicopter hat. We tried to put the handlebars on it, but it was just too heavy. Like I could handle the like that one thing, the dishwasher thing. We had to put a Band-Aid on the block of wood so the screw wouldn't like go into my head.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did this crazy elaborate costume to the point where I almost like I was gonna show up on like very, very small stilts, but like and then take them off for the rest of the party. But it was just like a way to enter the party. But it was just too much. It was too much. But the costume itself looked really good. It looked like we worked really hard on it. So I tied for third place with the store-bought Austin Powers costume that year.
Oh
no.
That was I mean, I didn't even care if I won or not. Like, it was just like, that was like an even bigger insult to me than not winning. Like,
oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
tying with a store-bought costume, and then the person that won was
So what did he wear?
Oh my god, the person that got first place. By the way, their mom was on the committee, so already, not okay. Some biases there, but they were like, "Oh, they're a kid from detention," and they literally just had like a big sandwich board on them that said like detention. It was so weird, very abstract. I'm like,
I was gonna say it sounds very avant-garde for like a Halloween costume.
I was like, what is this? So weird.
How old were they?
What's up?
How old were they?
So this was when did the Inspector Gadget movie come out? That's really embarrassing, by the way.
2002?
98, 99, somewhere around that point.
God damn it.
That would have been about 4th or 5th grade. So I was probably like 5th grade, I think, at the oldest. Okay. And like, it was just embarrassing. Like, it was just like, I remember I got in the car with my mom, and she was just like, my mom's not the type to get mad about like PTA things back then, but that was like the one thing that like set her off. She's like, we worked so hard, and they tied you with a store-bought costume. It was ridiculous. It's so
Probably
dumb.
a more fair way to do that would be to have different categories. If like, there's going to be a lot of people who are doing homemade stuff, but I guess it depends. That's tough. It depends on like the nature of the competition and how many participants there are. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. I like the Sabrina, by the way.
Sabrina!
Yeah, I know. I thought to myself, is that too basic? And I'm like, nah, well.
Oh, no, she'd totally be into doing like the witch thing. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
What would Mark be?
Man,
CIA agent?
CIA. Well, Mark, in my opinion, he would dress up as some kind of just like scientist, like paranormal, Fox Mulder type thing, and then Cody would be like, "Oh man, I love your costume." He's like,
"Costume?
What costume? Yeah, what costume?"
Maybe he shows up wearing like the helmet and goggles from this episode. It's like, "Oh yeah, are you like Doc Martin?" And it's like, no, that's just his outfit.
It's just
Where's your car?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna draw Mark as Hannibal Lecter. I was almost
yeah, that would be good. That would fit.
Please.
Okay.
Right. We still have like 20 minutes. Go for it.
I'll do it.
I'm down with it.
Okay, cool.
Totally down with it. I've gotten to so many conversations about that movie, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like a good thriller, and it's like, no, it's like a horror movie. He's like a monster, and I'm like, I guess, yeah, sure, yeah, fine.
I mean, it's. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking how it goes in the movie. I'm like, there's not really moments where it's very. I mean, of course, he's a horrific character, I guess, in terms of he's very, obviously he's Hannibal Lecter, but I think of like moments where it's really horror-esque. It's more thriller than horror.
Yeah.
Horror is a little bit more subtle and psychological.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just such a thin line between horror and thriller for me. Sure. Like, it was. I don't want to give anything away about that movie, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But
sure.
but specifically for Silence of the Lambs, like, there has been a debate as to whether it's a horror or a thriller, and I honestly consider horror to have more supernatural elements to it. It doesn't have to necessarily, but that's where I would. Well, that's not true either, because you can consider slasher movies horror movies.
Movies can be complicated and be multiple genres. Like, I don't know, American Psycho. Like, I would consider that a horror movie.
That's
I would also
a horror
consider
movie.
that a thriller.
Yeah.
Can you go in expecting to experience, but it can also become a little reductive if you're trying to get everything into these boxes. Like, I remember when people were trying to like talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once when that was coming out, and it was like, well, it's all these things, but like, I don't want to tell you about it because you should experience it yourself. And it's like, okay, well, but then how do you market that?
Yeah. I can say it now because I'm not gonna get into it, but it's just like with like Barbarian specifically, I was like, how. It's like the best thing about this movie is not knowing anything about it going in. It's like, how do you even make a trailer for it at that point? Like, it defies like it defies advertisement, basically.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it did pretty well. It was made for like $4 million, and it made like 45 million. So like, I think it did just fine. But
I mean, I still need to finish it off, so no spoilers, please.
No, I will not spoil it.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's also just like would you consider like Godzilla horror I mean, the original Godzilla is a horror movie for sure, but like do they become less horror movie like driven, because they've just become like action movies at a certain point, just like with monsters fighting. They have monsters in them. I guess you would consider them horror movies.
I don't know if so it's funny because like I think about when I did so back in 2020 I did like a Halloween post-it challenge where every like day in October I did like a caricature of like a little monster, just like on a post-it, just as a little simple challenge for myself. And I was considering Godzilla, but I thought to myself, I mean, he's a monster, but it doesn't follow the terms of. I feel like he's not really. I think of those films, and they're not following the terms of like horror. Like the Godzilla is obviously a monster, and he's scary. But then again, I think of like those films, and he's more like he's a monster hero animal kind of thing, and it's not like the fear is not in the fact of like, because you're also rooting for the monster. And you don't usually root for the monsters in like slasher films and whatnot. So
it's tough though, right? Yeah. Because like sometimes you do, like as the Jason movies go on, you're like, just kill them, kill them all. Just like that's what I'm here for. Like especially like the Freddy movies where it's just like the Nightmare on Elm Street ones where it's just like, I wonder how he's gonna kill these people. I can't wait to see. Like it's so weird.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, it's a thin line with. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you do kind of root for. I think tone is a really important thing. Because I do think as the Godzilla movies go on, he kind of becomes like I said, like a hero, and they kind of become campier and not really scary. They're just like kind of like action movies. They're kaiju action movies basically. Which is fun. I love a lot of the later Godzilla movies. They're really fun. Especially when they get into like the 80s and stuff like that. But like I said, there are Godzilla movies. Like I would say, like the original, the 85 one, and then the Shin Godzilla is a little disturbing. I think he's scary in it.
Do you think that has like slight tone to like the very first Godzilla film? Do you think?
Yeah, I think if you center it around the tone of the first Godzilla movie, then it's probably a horror movie.
Okay.
But when he starts fighting other monsters, they more or less become action movies.
Right.
And then at a certain point in the 70s, it kind of became kids movies almost,
Yes.
Like when the one with I think it's called Godzilla's Revenge or something like that, and it's just like about a kid hanging out with Godzilla's son.
Yes.
Godzilla had a son, didn't he?
Yeah, Minya.
Is that the one where he talks?
Godzilla said.
Like.
I like to fight my own battles.
Yeah.
9, do you have any favorite horror movies?
I suppose that's a good question. I guess horror is not really my speed. I probably haven't seen a lot of movies recently. I'm just gonna be flat out honest. But
valid. Huh?
I suppose a horror movie that I do remember seeing like the more recent one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching that with my little sister. We went just because like we were both in town. We're like, let's go see a movie. We went to go see that. We were kind of surprised how because if I grew up on the 90s one, which is way too long and like just like such an exhausting event to have to like sit through.
It was a TV movie originally, wasn't it? Like it was.
Yeah, it was a TV movie. It was like a mini series, so it was split into. Technically, it was split into 2 movies, but but when you got it on VHS, it came with 2 VHS. It was one of those 2 VHS packs. You would have to like.
Okay.
One of the few I can think about. It's like that and Titanic are like the only 2. Maybe North versus South or something, but like other than that, like there weren't a whole lot of those. But I just remember the original is so overwhelming, and like also incredibly slow in parts. So like when we watched the new one, it was just so streamlined, and like they definitely like Goonies did up a lot. Like it's a lot of Goonies influence.
Goonies did up.
Goonies did up. And they kind of made it more about like the like a little more adventure based. It's still a horror movie for sure. There's just a lot of that going on in it. But yeah, I liked it. It was fun. It was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
How would you? What was your favorite? Like, how would you rate it though? Like, do you think is Tim Curry still
the original
best it or? Yeah.
The child in me is still very scared of that. Like, I don't think that ever goes away. I think, now I watch it's kind of silly, but like, but I think even he's got some creepy parts in that. The part where you see his teeth and stuff like that, that's still scary. I think surprisingly, actually, if you compare the two, the sewer scenes, like the very first scenes, basically, if you compare those scenes, I think there's something scarier about the Tim Curry one because he's not trying to play it scary. He's trying to play it very, very inviting, and like he's just like really I don't know. He's very like casual about inviting him down. Like he's like, hey, come on down here. Like I think I love Bill Skarsgård. He's fantastic in the role, but the tone of that movie, teetering aspect of that character, basically, that you could see a kid falling for.
Okay.
Both are great interpretations. I think Tim Curry kind of like that first scene with him is really unsettling and really creepy.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I in some respects Tim Curry is still really good, but there are just scenes where he's just like, what are you doing, buddy? It's like, but that you kind of also have to blame that on the direction too. It's made for TV movies, so like, I don't know.
I mean, he's much more quotable compared to.
Sure. I think he's way more quotable. Absolutely more quotable. I was gonna say there are a lot of Stephen King '90s made for TV movies that aren't very good. I watched one called "Sometimes They Come Back" about evil greasers that come back to torment a kid they used to beat up on. Basically, that was something.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Stephen King hates greasers, and I found out why. Actually, he hates them because he was obsessed with this one that went on like a killing spree when he was a kid, and it scared him a lot. And I was like, all right, I guess so. Sure. Makes sense.
What is it? Because where they're usually all set as well. Where's Stephen King novels usually all set? They're set in the same place, aren't they?
Yeah, Castle Rock.
Castle Rock. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he have a problem with that place as well? Because that's where all these evil entities are, or where all this evil stuff happens.
I haven't looked that. My mom's a much bigger Stephen King fan than I am. So she would know probably, but I don't know if it's necessary. I think he grew up in Maine. I think that might be why.
That's it, Maine. That's it. Yeah.
Maine,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just that it's more like he likes to put it on the map, Maine, every so often. So
yeah, basically, it's just places he grew up more or less.
Okay.
Maine's haunted. That's the reason.
What's up, Miranda?
Maine's haunted.
Yeah.
Maine's haunted.
Ah, okay, interesting. Okay.
Maine's haunted. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Miranda, do you have any favorite horror movies?
I have to think about that. Because like it's interesting. I feel like there's horror elements in a lot of things that I like. Like, I mean, I like Nightmare Before Christmas, but I wouldn't consider that a horror movie. It's just spooky.
It's weird because I consider things that aren't necessarily horror. Okay, I guess you have to differentiate between Halloween movie and horror movie, right? Like
that's fair.
Because I would consider E.T. a Halloween movie, but it's not a horror movie. Yeah.
I'm not sure I can say off the top of my head. I'd have to like actually like do a hard think on that.
No worries. Here, I'll throw an easier question out there. What was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid? I'm gonna go with that Inspector Gadget one for me, but
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. That takes me back.
And then on top of that, what was your favorite candy to get?
So, probably the funniest one was one year I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a devil, and it's like, well, what does that mean? And I guess to me it involved wearing like a black trench coat and like a funny wig with horns on it. It was just like, what is this costume? I think I had like those little like nails that not the stick-on nails, but it's like a fingertip that like you put onto your fingertip that makes them look all wrinkly and has the long nails on it. I was just walking around like that with my little Halloween basket. Goodness, that probably would have been like late elementary school, early middle school, probably. Yeah. Were there any others that were especially interesting? I feel like most of my costumes have been like ones that I just kind of made with pieces around. Like in my adult years, I did variations of this character called Candy Elf, which is basically just like I have this pair of latex elf ears, and like I would just put different costumes around, and I'd carry around a bunch of candy and just like skip around and give it to people.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
What was your favorite candy?
Probably any kind of chocolate, to be honest. Like any good chocolate, like a dark chocolate, or that's got like an interesting texture, like rice in it. Yeah. Kit Kats are pretty good though.
Yeah. Jack, I don't. Do you guys do Halloween in the UK?
We do, but we're not like sort of hard. We don't go hardcore like you guys over there. I mean, we have obviously trick or treaters and stuff like that, but we don't really sort of go out on. Just go to beyond people's houses. It's not as common in other like neighborhoods and such like that, really, around the UK. Although we still kind of do it. I think we do more like events though, I guess, in terms of like we dress up and go to parties and whatnot.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think about like costumes I've worn. Man, I mean, I remember like when I had a really good Mad Professor one when I was a young kid. Like I had like some like obviously googly like goggles and stuff like that. My hair was spiked up a bit. Like my had a coat lab that was like sketched and but rubbed up, like scruffed up because of an experiment that went wrong. I had like a formula in one hand and stuff like that. And then I think of like that was quite, my mum did pretty good with that one. And then I think of like recent ones where I'm just, I mean, they're quite low bar. I mean, one Halloween I did Cuphead, which I was quite proud of.
Oh, really?
Like, nice. Well, I mean, I didn't have like an actual cup head, but like I wore.
You blew it. No, it's kidding.
Yeah. Aww. I mean, it was more. I mean, you could say, yeah. I mean, basically, I had like just a cardboard cut out of the eyes of that was like shaped around like a cup. So if I put the eyes over my eyes and like it was big enough to cover the top part of my head, it looked like a cup. So basically, I had the little get up of like the shorts and the white top with like, it was a black top, sorry, with the sort of like Mickey Mouse gloves. Obviously, and sort of big enough shoes. Like, it was basically, I was like almost like a freakish humanoid version of Cuphead, which was probably more, horrific, to be honest. And then then one time, I think it was last time I did a Halloween. I think because I did a joke because I was studying my master's degree in Manchester. And I think my friends back at home were like, "If you're not careful, you're going to turn into like a Manchurian or something like that," which is a term basically for like, just like you're gonna have the accent, the look, and stuff. You know Oasis, don't you? So it's that kind of look. So I mean, so I made up the Halloween party. I came in with like a bucket hat. Like think of like how Oasis look, bucket hat, trench coat. Got dark glasses. I'm holding lager in the shorts. Yeah, right, mate. Proper top mad for it. So it's just
starting fights with anybody.
Starting fights with anybody. Bringing the Happy Mondays music. Sort of like.
Some dragons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like Yeah,
that was one of the first things we bonded over. Kind of was just like that was a scene I was into when I was when I was in like high school, early college. I really liked Manchester music, and then also I just liked like power pop from England too. So I would just name all these bands, you would know them, like, well, no way.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, Britpop was just, yeah. I mean, you think it was big, think it was big over here. I'm surprised, like how like massive, over in the States, how much it connected to people over there. And it's interesting actually how that case, considering the fact that I think of like Nirvana and that scene and stuff like that. So I wonder like how those two sort of were around at the same time and like could have worked and interject with, But I mean, then again, it's a fascinating time with music back then, anyway. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything went back then, everything went and goes. Let me see how I'm doing.
Jack, do you have a favorite candy?
I I mean, funny enough, before we started the stream, I did say to Miranda 9, I just like had a bag of Skittles, and it just made me feel absolutely sick. It's probably the only time of the year where I just like my increase of candy and Skittles and just eating is just like goes up, and I just like forget. I mean, I love Skittles, but like even just after one bag, I'm just like, it's like I'm gonna be tasting like fruity sugar, and then I gotta brush my teeth, and it's gonna be like minty fruit sugar. Like they're still in the cores of my teeth as well. So I'm just like, I was worried like halfway through the stream I'm gonna be like, I gotta go to the toilet just to so yeah. I'm all right, luckily. So but yeah, I think Skittles though is probably it's just I don't know. There's just something about it. It's just the two. I mean, I'm more jealous over you guys though because you have more exotic flavors over there, which I'm.
Oh yeah, we have everything. Just we have like everything has like multiple varieties over here, like Mountain Dew and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
they gotta make more mug variants.
Yeah.
Was it 9? How about you? Do you have a favorite Halloween costume when you were a kid?
Well, I should probably preface this by saying this. As a kid, I didn't really have much of a choice. So, when I was dressing up... Oh, hold on. I was dressing up for Halloween and all that stuff. I'm like, I'm going to be a ninja! And then my mom kept getting me ninja for the next 8 to 9 years. And I didn't realize it up until I was like, I've been doing ninja for 8 to 9 years. Can I have something else? But I mean, that would be the last times I would partake in Halloween because I'm like I like looking at the costumes. I'm good.
Did you at least try and like mix it up? Like, were you a ninja with an eye patch, ninja with nunchucks or swords?
I was a ninja with a band-aid on his arm because I got hurt. If that changes anything, it's like
okay.
I was jumping around like ninja. I'm a ninja, and I fell on the asphalt and I started crying. It's still funny. I think it's funny.
Battle damage ninja.
Damage ninja, but it's a ruse because he's fine all along. It just makes himself look weak, and he can fool people by But obviously not. He hides the weapons in his
in his wound. He's got the weapons.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's only facade.
That sounds like a toy from the 90s for sure. Like Battle Dance Ninja with weapons in his wound. It's like do you remember the Jurassic Park toys that had like the dino damage on them? Like they were these dinosaurs, like the dinosaur toys from Jurassic Park. But then they would have a little piece of like skin you could remove, and you could see like the bone under it and everything.
Gross.
And that was the way they trademarked their dinosaurs. Because anybody can just make dinosaur toys, you know what I mean? So it's like, no, you got to get the ones with the JP symbol on it. When you peel it off, you can see their bones and their blood and stuff. And I'm like, wow. I remember thinking that was really cool as a kid. And it's literally just a removable piece for copyright reasons. They suckered me in.
Oh.
Yeah. I was gonna say my favorite candy. Yeah, 9. What was your favorite candy?
I like Twix. Twisk and Three Musketeers.
Oh yeah, good choice.
Twix
Good man. For me, I'm weird. I really like candy corn. I know people find it disgusting. I can't help it. It's just really good. But that's not like a candy you get. That's just like at somebody's house. Like that would just if you go to a party, it'd just be there.
Now, when people say candy corn is disgusting, is it just because there's like huge quantities of it that makes it easy to eat, but like you obviously feel a bit sick after having so much of it?
I think so, and I also think people just think it tastes like wax, which I don't get at all. But I like if I had to pick like a Halloween candy, that's tough. Recent peanut butter cups, probably. I like peanut butter cups. I think those are always like a good de facto like thing to have. Twix is up there. Twix is definitely up there.
Okay.
But yeah, nerds as well. Nerds in those little boxes are always really reliable. Even though if I eat too many of those, I'll feel sick for sure. But yeah, nerds and peanut butter cups probably my favorites. Been going for a little over an hour now. Are we good? You guys think we're good?
I'm pretty happy with what I've drawn. It's a shame I didn't have time to do Brad as like Frankenstein. I was thinking of that, but no,
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Next time.
All right, guys, this was fun. It was cool hearing all your Halloween memories and everything. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And then, of course, didn't get any questions this time, but next time, hopefully, we should put out a. I'm gonna try to next time we do the stream. I'm gonna try to put out like a. Oh, put your questions here. I kind of did that this time,
okay.
but
That's a good
But
point,
Twitter is notoriously hard to market yourself on.
Sure, yeah. Well, depending on how it's gonna, who's gonna buy it in the end.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a bit harder to do so.
Yeah, but I'm glad we do these. These are cool VODs to have. If you want to check us out drawing stuff.
Wait, hold up. Why is JC a snowman? I really just noticed
it. Well, it's in the medium
she's
point
she's cosplaying as a
snowman. Yeah. No.
You remember?
What's
go
up?
ahead.
Oh, sure. I'll go. She's like in the medium point in between Halloween and Christmas. She didn't get the memo.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, it's very accurate.
Yeah.
It's accurate. I was gonna say she's Jack Frost, the mutant killer snowman, which is a real movie. I need to preface that is not something I just made up. That is a real movie that came out, I think, within a year of the the family movie Jack Frost, Michael Keaton, where he turns into a snowman.
Oh, did it come out around the same time? Wow.
Same exact title. So people would. This is going back to the 90s, but like when you go to Blockbuster, there'd be jerks who would switch out, the horror Jack Frost with the family Jack Frost.
Oh.
Because they had the same exact title, so they would just how Blockbuster worked was that you would there would be the VHS box, and then behind the box would be the Blockbuster box. So we just switch the Blockbuster box.
Oh, that's evil.
So you just wouldn't even think about it. Yeah, it was dick move.
Does the Keaton movie count as a horror movie? The horror of being turned into a snowman?
That's pretty scary, right? Isn't that kind of scary? Like, he's a snowman who's just going to inevitably melt? Like, that's spooky.
I think isn't there like a Courage the Cowardly Dog episode about that with like an evil snowman who like is trying to extract what makes humans not melt, and like one of the characters is just melting at the end because like he just lost whatever essence kept him from melting as a human being.
Eustace?
Yeah.
Eustace ends up as a puddle at the end. I remember that.
Right.
I remember at the end. I remember towards the end, they like drop the snowman in like the freezing water. He just comes up as a popsicle. He goes, "Not too shabby." That's the only thing I remember about that specific episode.
Yeah, that's JC's costume though. This is a snowman.
Nice.
Snowman? Yeah, dude. Yeah, you know what? That's actually. I know we were having trouble figuring it out. JC just goes as a snowman. She's just like one-stop costume for Christmas and for Halloween. I'm done. I'm not doing this.
You sure you don't wear the Thanksgiving costume? Like a...
Yeah.
Do people dress up for Thanksgiving? I know like some people do sweaters and stuff, but like...
I do a sweater. I just do a sweater with a button down under it. That's all I do, really.
Like, are Thanksgiving pageants a thing?
They dress up as... I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily culturally appropriate to dress up as pilgrims anymore, considering what we know now. Yeah, I don't think we should be doing that anymore, considering what we know. But I don't know. I just consider Thanksgiving just like whatchamacallit, very like just a sweater and a button down. That's all I need. Yeah. And I'm not even wearing nice pants. I'm wearing jeans. I don't care.
Thanksgiving is more about what you're eating, I suppose. That's true.
It is. It's the food holiday for sure. It's definitely the food holiday. That and 4th of July are the food holidays.
Yeah. Oh, I should probably ask. You want me to keep stream running?
Yeah. For now.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna call it quits in about like 2 minutes. So.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you the go ahead.
I mean, I was just admiring all the art anyway. I love the Pokemon. Pokemon have done so well, Miranda.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, they're
like
so
the
cool.
New one.
Yeah.
He's a little doggy. He just wants to play, but he also inadvertently sucks out your life force. So don't play.
Dude, that's all the ghost Pokemon. That's all they do.
That's what they do. Like, it's if you're gonna be around ghost Pokemon, you're gonna become probably like chronically ill or something. Like that's the trade-off.
Well, that's Lavender Town, basically, right? That's just like that. Is that how that like whole like creepypasta started? Where it's just like ooh, Lavender Town like makes you sick when you go into it or something, or like the.
I think it's just because the music is so different from the rest of the game, and it's got a somber atmosphere. I mean, Lavender Town is like it's a graveyard that just happens to be haunted during the time that you're there, and you deal with that, and it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You just have to lay some Pokemon spirits to rest. You know, it's fine. It's normal. That happens.
Yeah, and yet they have all the ghost Pokemon just have the most cool designs, you know. So you can't blame people for like going for them and yet getting their souls sucked out, you know.
If you like purple, you'll probably like ghost Pokemon.
Oh yeah. Is that the science? That's how it works. If you like purple, then yeah.
I mean, most of them are.
Is the Chandelier one that like? I kind of dropped out after Gold and Silver. I know that's kind of like sacrilege for anybody into animation and not being into Pokemon as well, but I know. But the Chandelier one is the one that like comes down and grabs you, right? Or is that a different one?
I need to remember what Chandelier's deal is. I know that like I think its flames are supposed to steal life force, but I don't remember what its MO is. It did make it into that one fighting game. Pokemon
I was gonna say
it
was in the fighting game. Yeah. I was gonna say
you can be just a haunted Chandelier and beat people up. It's great.
Yeah.
This thing's it's also like I think fairly powerful. Like I remember I briefly went to a tournament during Gen 5, I think, and just like it was used in most teams, which was super interesting.
It wasn't a card tournament, it was like an actual.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, the VGC, the video.
Right, gotcha. Okay. Oh, cool.
I was gonna.
The
what's
video
the
game
one that's like?
Yeah.
It has a really high special attack, and it's really good at burning things and just status stuff that it can do a lot of things with fire.
Cool.
I'm thinking of the one that's like. Is it like a ghost Pikachu type thing?
Oh, Mimikyu. Yeah, the one that's like, well, Pikachu's popular, so I'm gonna dress like Pikachu, and if you like point at, if you like talk about Pikachu around it, it gets super jealous and then just like pulls you under like the costume, and it's like, what happened to you? Are you okay? You're never the same.
Yeah,
that's the one I'm thinking of, because there was another one that's like steals kids or something.
Driploon. That's the one where it'll wrap itself around a kid's wrist, but it doesn't have enough power to actually lift them away, but it's trying to steal them. And they're like, oh,
that's horrifying.
And it's like, no, it is trying to steal you, but like it just isn't strong enough.
That's horrifying. Oh my god.
Isn't one of them is like the ghost of a child that's in a tree stump or something like that?
Oh yeah, that's another Gen 5 one. Oh no, Gen 6. I think it's Trevenant Gen 6. It evolves into Trevenant. What is it called? Right. Oh my god. I should know this.
Okay, I always liked the design of that one. Anyway, that's probably my favorite. Probably.
Phanthump. Phanthump is the one that turns into Trevenant. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Child got lost in the forest. Bam! Its spirit is a tree monster now, and it can be your best friend. Don't think about it too hard.
Is Driploon a ghost Pokemon?
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny that like there's some Pokemon that also kind of like straddle the line between ghost and just like other types. Because Cubone could kind of be considered a ghost Pokemon.
So like it does actually have a regional variant. Alolan Marowak is, I think, Ghost Fire, I want to say. So it did actually get a regional variant where it is Ghost type, but yeah, I don't know. Marowak and Cubone having the whole like, oh yeah, where's its mother's skull? It's like that's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. It's pretty creepy. I know that was the one of the influences for King from Owl House was.
That's you know what, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, was Cubone. You could totally see it. Absolutely. I think that's Dana's favorite. Which is really cool.
I like that one joke with King where folks are like, "Oh, what's under the skull?" And like it's this drawing, and it's just like a pair of eyeballs and a tongue, and like that's the head. There's no rest of the head.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think. I think that's just his head. Like I don't think there's anything else under there. Like I remember posting about this like a couple of years ago, and I was just like, it's so eerie. Like there's nothing. Like there's no explanation for what could be under there.
We'll find out eventually.
I kind of hope we don't know.
Yeah, I prefer not.
It's just like that's one of those like mysteries where it's just like just keep the fans guessing as to what it could be. Like I like that.
Even though there's some like, isn't there some semi-official art that shows slight underneath of the what's underneath the
Well,
skull.
There's a shot. There might be a shot in one of the episodes that implies he has like more of a head shape under the skull, but like you never actually see it clearly.
Well, because when you see him, when he's in the egg, when he's in his egg, when you see him, he's still got the skull on. But I don't know. I guess I don't know. We're kind of getting deep dive into.
We'll find out. It's probably part of his face. That would make most sense.
Yeah, I would assume it's just part of it. And that seems horrific enough for like that show to be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's just got cracks in his face now. It's fine.
Yeah,
he's
which
fine.
That's the ad. All right, guys. I think we're gonna call this a stream.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for coming out, and also thank you for your patience while we set it up. You guys want to say anything before we leave?
Happy
Halloween!
New episode. We'll have updates soon. Definitely be posting to Twitter. Probably start getting on some other platforms for this as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. And we're gonna cut it here. Have a nice day. Happy Halloween.
All right, have a good one.